Okay, so I hit record now. Oh, there you go. Oh, giving away the slide. Okie dokie. So I'm covering an important issue of concussions in sports and the passing of Rowan's Law. To start, here's a little bit of background information of why Rowan's Law is being proposed. So the bill gets its name from Rowan Stringer, who was a high school student in John McCrae Secondary School, located in Ottawa. She played rugby in high school and was the team captain. During one of her rugby games, Rowan was hit in the head. It wasn't reported how, whether she hit the ground or she was tackled, but Rowan texted her friend after the incident saying that she had major headaches. However, she did not report her symptoms to her parents or visited the doctors to check on them. About a week later, Rowan had another rugby game. This is where she was tackled and her head hit the ground. She was unconscious, and by the time the paramedics transported her to the hospital, she died from second impact syndrome. So I'm going to jump straight to the statistics in Canada, and I found that young athletes participating in sports take 40% of all injuries in Canada. This isn't only for brain injuries, but just a general look that young athletes make a big increase in statistical rates. Government of Canada reported that 64% of all visits to the emergency rooms are children aged 10 to 18 injured from sports-related activities. This includes 39% who were diagnosed with concussion and 24% who had suspected concussions. Government of Canada also stated that between 2004 and 2014, hockey, soccer, and American football had a major increase of head injuries by 40%. So the reason I'm showing statistics is because injuries are a rising problem and the numbers are very high that we need to do something about it. So, a big solution that is being proposed in Ontario to reduce the statistical rate is the passing of Rowan's Law. This bill is designed to protect amateur athletes from injuries, specifically concussions. If Rowan's Law will be passed, it will reduce the statistical rate of injuries from sport-related activity because it will ensure that athletes are getting informed, rules will be adjusted, and establish return to sport protocol. So jumping straight to the informing part, informing and educating the youth about concussions is probably the most significant thing Rowan's Law will do. It will inform about concussions, the importance of reporting symptoms, and many more things that are associated with it. So why would it be important to educate children about concussions? Well, after Rowan's death, there were many unanswered questions as of why her death was not prevented. Charles Taylor, who is a neurosurgeon at Toronto Western Hospital, stated that knowledge of concussion and being more clued in would have prevented her tragedy. Big reasons why concussions happen or not get dealt with is not get dealt with it properly is because of lack of knowledge. This is where Rowan's Law will make sure that every child will understand the basics of concussions, preventative measures, reporting symptoms, and so on. In addition, it is not just the athletes that will get informed, that will not get this information, but also parents and coaches will be notified to make it absolute sure that everyone is healthy to play. So next, Rowan's Law will adjust many rules in sports that are considered violent and have a big concussion increase, just like in soccer, American football, and hockey. These sports cause unnecessary harm, and Rowan's Law will prohibit this behavior. A study from 2013 shows that creating new rules for prohibition of body checking resulted in injury reduction rate. Rowan's Law will help implement these new rules and make sure that every child is safe during practice or a game. Next, many amateur athletes are not aware of how bad their symptoms are, and so they resume their physical activity even when they are not healthy enough. American Academy of Pediatrics published that 58% of children in Canada aged 5 to 18 with concussion symptoms resumed their physical activity a week after being injured. Not knowing when it is safe for athletes to return to play can lead to many consequences. For example, if the athlete has a concussion without knowing it and they return back to another game and get concussed a second time, this could lead to second impact syndrome, which is exactly what happened to Rowan Stringer. Second impact syndrome occurs after a second concussion in a short time with the first concussion. This causes the brain to rapidly swell and is extremely fatal. Other consequences associated with returning back to play when it is not safe to due to a concussion is post-concussive syndrome, which are persistent symptoms of concussions that can last up to a year. This is why we need Rowan's Law. It will ensure that if there is a suspected concussion, then getting medical attention is the priority of the individual. This will make coaches report on their athlete on suspected injuries, and the returning back to training will only be arranged by an expert like a physician or a neurosurgeon. So in conclusion, Rowan's Law will aid in reducing concussion rates. This will be conducted by educating athletes, coaches, and parents, changing rules that will prohibit body checking and other unnecessary harm, and encourage the safe return to sport protocol to all amateur athletes. Passing the bill is very important in preventing a tragedy that happened to athletes just like Rowan Stringer. In addition to it encouraging safe play, many athletes or future athletes will not be afraid to participate in physical activities.